Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. I have a question for you. Did the Democrats use a health crisis, use the pandemic to ram through a left-wing wish list, to ram through a radical agenda, to ram through a bailout of poorly run democratic states? Well, we're going to take a look at some comments from some important senators, and you'll hear what they have to say about the Democrats essentially being guilty of this, being guilty of pushing through, of jamming through a left-wing wish list using the pandemic as an excuse. So let's start with HR 1319, the American Rescue Plan of 2021. You'll see this bill on your screen. In fact, I'll show you the entire bill on your screen. This bill is well over 600 pages. Let's scroll through this bill. I've actually broken down some of the highlights of this bill on our channel, and as you can see, it's a massive piece of legislation. $1.9 trillion. And as we scroll through this, I have a question for you. Do you know what $200 million is as a ratio of $1 trillion? I'll repeat that question. How much is $200 million as a ratio of $1 trillion? Well, the answer to that question is $200 million is 0.0002 of $1 trillion. So again, that's 0.0002 of $1 trillion. So once again, 0.0002 out of $1 trillion is $200 million. That's like $2 out of $10,000. So what if you had $10,000 and you took out $2 and you had $2 of waste? Well, that is a comparison of $200 million versus $1 trillion. Now, keep that in mind as we continue to scroll through this massive American Rescue Plan. And I want to be clear, waste in any form is bad. But if you're going to cherry pick items where there is some waste, and again, there will be waste, unfortunately, there will be waste, and I don't think any waste is justified. But if you're cherry picking items that are wasteful, and if you're using that to gain political mileage, remember, politics is about timing. Politics is about opportunity. It's about tribalism. It's us against them. And it's about perception. The Republicans are trying to create the perception that the Democrats are wasting money and this is a left-wing wish list. This is a blue state bailout. But the truth is that there is a small amount of waste, and there always will be in every bill. There is a place in the universe where there is absolutely no waste. That place is called La La Land. Now let's shift gears to some of the things that the Republicans have been saying recently. Now I have done another video on our channel highlighting concerns from Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina and Senator Marsha Blackburn, the Republican from Tennessee. So you'll definitely want to check out that video where I also take a closer look at comments from Joe Manchin, the conservative Democrat. But right now, let's focus on what Senator Lindsey Graham said. He pointed out all the wasteful spending, all the pork that is in the bill. And he basically said, God help us if the Democrats continue to retain control of the Senate after 2022. Let's roll the tape and hear from Senator Lindsey Graham where he says, God help us all if we don't have checks and balances over the Democrats in 2022. Let's roll the tape and watch.
Senator Lindsey Graham, he is the ranking Republican on the Senate Budget Committee. And Senator, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for being here. Can you take us behind the doors yesterday when this bill passed and what is in it?
Yeah, well, number one, it took 27 hours to pass it. I'm proud of my Republican colleagues for fighting back. But what a difference a year makes, Maria. March of 2020, we passed a $1.9 trillion bill, the same amount of money, 96-0, because we understood the need to fight COVID. A year later, March of 2021, the Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the White House. And what did we tell you? If they get everything, they're going to run us over. This is out of control liberalism. And in this bill, as Kevin said, most of the money is not spent this year. 90% of it's got nothing to do with COVID. But let me give you an example of something that really bothers me. In this bill, if you're a farmer, your loan will be forgiven up to 120% of your loan, not 100%, but 120% of your loan if you're socially disadvantaged, if you're African American, some other minority. But if you're white person, if you're a white woman, no forgiveness. That's reparations. What has that got to do with COVID? So if you're in the farming business right now, this bill forgives 120% of your loan based on your race. These people in the Congress today, the House and the Senate on the Democratic side, are out of control liberals, and God help us all if we don't check and balance them in 2022.
This is just incredible. And we're looking at the list of things that money is being allocated toward, $300 million toward the arts and humanities. I mean, where is this money coming from now that we've got a $28 trillion tab in debt?
Well, it's coming from your children and your grandchildren. It's all borrowed money. There's $200 million for library services. There's over $300 million for the National Endowment of the Humanities and Arts. There's $20 million for native language studies. These all may be good ideas, but they got nothing to do with COVID.
Yep, he said that. And if you thought that was interesting, wait till you hear what Senator Marsha Blackburn had to say. She not only used the phrase blue state bailout, but she also said Democrats want people to suffer. Now, what was interesting is the Fox News anchor she was talking to pushed back on both of these points, saying, hey, are you sure you want to say Democrats want people to suffer? And he also said, hey, wait a minute, Tennessee is receiving $6 billion. Texas, which is a red state, among many other red states, are receiving in some cases tens of billions of dollars. Let's listen to the Republican Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee talk about the blue state bailout and Democrats wanting people to suffer. Let's roll the tape and hear from Senator Blackburn.
I'm going to ask you about the debt, which we haven't heard that word a lot lately in just a moment. But, the president, hailed it as well, there's the debt clock right there. I mean, we're at $23 trillion or so, and it's just zipping on it. It never stops.
Yes.
At the same time, despite what you just said, 18 million Americans unemployed, 8 million jobs not coming back, 40 million Americans can't meet rent, they say. So the president says that this is so important in order to help those people beyond coronavirus. What do you say to that?
Relief should be targeted, temporary, and timely. The Democrats did not want timely relief prior to the election. They wanted people to suffer. And Nancy Pelosi told us why. She said because they felt like it would help them win the elections.
No, do you think it really is fair? Senator, I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you think it really is fair to say that Democrats wanted people to suffer? They don't want people to suffer.
They delayed relief when people were saying we desperately need relief. They delayed money to small businesses when small businesses were saying we need another round of PPP. That was a choice they made. As I said, there were 5 COVID bills that were bipartisan bills. There is one that is on party line, and 91% of the bill does not affect COVID. 9% of the bill affects COVID. So, whether you want to say it was fair or not fair, it is an action they took, and it is an admission that they have made. So I think it was just really unfortunate that was their choice. Now, people are saying those that are unemployed desperately need help. We know the jobs market is coming back. Let's help individuals bridge this gap. Let's come around them and support them when they need these jobs. Let's cheer for these employers that are opening their doors and getting back to work, and people that are getting back to work, and help them with that process. But do you really need to bail out the blue states that have mismanaged their funds and have mismanaged their pensions? Do you really want to put money now into arts and humanities? I think that's the question.
Okay. But you also know, your state gets $6 billion, Florida gets $16 billion, Texas gets $27 billion, so red states get a lot of money too.
A lot of pushback, as you can see. In fact, here's the headline of an article on your screen from Fox. Democrats' stimulus relief by the numbers is jaw-dropping. This isn't about the pandemic, it's about using a health crisis as an excuse to ram through a left-wing wish list, according to Senator Pat Toomey, the Republican from Pennsylvania. Before I show you the tweet from Senator Pat Toomey where he highlighted a list of items that he had problems with, let's take a look at a comment from the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, who said the Senate has never spent $2 trillion in a more haphazard way or through a less rigorous process. These were comments from the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell. Now let's shift gears and look at what Senator Pat Toomey had to say. On your screen, you'll see a tweet from Senator Pat Toomey where he says $45 billion expansion for Obamacare, including new subsidies for people with 6-figure incomes, $270 million to the National Endowments of the Arts and Humanities. This isn't about the pandemic. It's about using a health crisis as an excuse to ram through a left-wing wish list. In fact, here's a document that Senator Pat Toomey put out along with his tweet. By the way, we'll provide you with a link to Pat Toomey's tweet and references to all the videos we've used in this episode in the description section below. So definitely check it out. This is what makes our channel unique. We put a lot of effort into the organization, and we encourage you to use our references to dig deeper into those news sources yourself, so you're an informed citizen. Let's take a look at this document from Senator Pat Toomey, a rescue plan for the left-wing agenda. $350 billion for state and local governments despite record high revenues in 2020. I have done another video talking about which states are broke and which states are actually making more money. You'll be surprised to learn that some states like California actually made more money in 2020 relative to 2019, and some red states like Alaska, for example, like Texas, were upside down and need the money, need the federal funds. So the whole blue state bailout argument is a very interesting argument from the Republicans. The second point in Senator Pat Toomey's document, $126 billion for schools, even if they're closed, but only 5% to be spent this year. $570 million for 15 weeks of paid leave for federal employees. $45 billion for massive expansion of Obamacare subsidies with no income limit. $4 billion to pay off 120% of the debt for socially disadvantaged farmers and ranchers. By the way, this means minority groups, and this is what Lindsey Graham was referring to in his video clip earlier. Very interesting what the Republicans are pointing out and helping us focus on. $200 billion for enhanced unemployment benefits. I've covered this extensively on my channel. $270 million for the National Endowments of the Arts and the Humanities. $200 million for the Institute of Museum and Library Services. $91 million for outreach to student loan borrowers. $50 million for environmental justice grants. So it looks like Senator Pat Toomey has done a good deal of work and has helped us identify the pork in the bill. Let's show you the bill again. This is the entire American Rescue Plan that I showed you at the start of this video. As we scroll through it, you have a choice. You can get a cup of coffee and read the whole bill, or let's go back to Senator Pat Toomey's document. You can check out this document if you want to learn about the left-wing agenda as far as the Republicans are concerned. Now, folks, before we go further, I want to be as clear as I can. For me, it's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm an American first. I can tell you that whenever I do something, whenever I cover something that favors the Democrats, I'm called a Democrat. Whenever I cover something that favors the Republicans, I'm called a Republican. I'm used to it. My goal is simply to bring you the truth and let you decide wherever the facts might lead us. So hopefully you find this valuable. If you do, please click the like button, please subscribe, please enable notifications. I would really appreciate that. I can tell you that President Joe Biden, when he watches Ignition Time, he clicks the like button, and I can tell you when the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, watches Ignition Time, he clicks the like button as well. I can tell you that Senator Marsha Blackburn and Senator Lindsey Graham also click the like button when they watch. And one final note, here's a headline of an article on your screen from the Washington Post. The business winners in Biden's relief package: restaurants, concert venues, and airplane manufacturers. These are the businesses, the sectors that are actually getting money, a significant amount of money under the American Rescue Plan, the $1.9 trillion plan. Now, what's interesting is this $1.9 trillion package also included money for certain educational institutions. Super interesting. Howard University, not Harvard University, but Howard University, Vice President Biden's alma mater, nailed down $35 million on top of the $33 million it received from earlier pandemic bills. And there's a university in DC called Gallaudet University, I hope I pronounced that right, and the National Technical Institute for the Deaf. They'll get $19.25 million each, and they had gotten $11 million in the December bill. So there's a lot of money floating out there. It's raining money. Check that out, folks. It's raining money. And look, guys, if I could, I would make it rain money in your living room. I would do that if I could. But folks, I'm a citizen journalist on YouTube. I work hard every single day to bring you the news. And all I ask of you is you please click the like button, please subscribe, please enable notifications. That would mean a great deal to me. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Again, please don't forget to click like, subscribe, enable notifications. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.